Hey, Katie.
Hey,
How's it going?
good. You?
It's going all right.
Yeah, what's going on?
Not much. Today I just, mainly just stayed glued to my phone watching the Kickstarter progress, and now I'm drinking some coffee. It's an oat milk vanilla latte thing. That's pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah.
I also had an oat milk latte earlier today.
It's the best kind of latte, honestly.
It's so creamy. Yeah, I will say macadamia nut milk is also really good, and that's what I had originally asked for, but they were out of it. But
Damn,
oat milk is really good.
cool. Yeah, that coffee shop that we did the show at, they have a drink there that's made with macadamia nut milk. It's called the Coffee on the Beach. Uh, so it's a double shot of espresso with coconut LaCroix, a little bit
Ooh,
of vanilla syrup, and macadamia nut milk over ice.
that sounds really good.
It is really good. Surprisingly, incredibly refreshing.
Mm, okay. Well, I don't have coconut LaCroix, but I got a plain sparkling one right here. So
Oh, interesting. A rare breed. You don't see a lot of people drinking just the plain LaCroix.
that's true. It was on sale, and I love sparkling water.
Hmm.
And I usually get Pellegrinos, but I love a sale. So I was like, got me.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Yeah, I love sparkling water too. Mostly my main go-to though is just like a giant bottle of the green Pellegrino, like the glass bottle.
Yep.
For whatever reason, that tastes the best to me. I think it actually does affect the flavor, the taste a little bit.
I think
The
so.
the container that it's in.
Yeah. I
Right
don't really
now,
know the science behind it, but yeah.
there's gotta be. I mean, there's gotta be something to it because like right now, I have the canned Pellegrinos, and they're fine. Oh, sorry, Brandi is texting the chat.
Oh,
Um,
oh shit.
Brandi found out she has an exam right now.
Oh shit. I'm at
Okay.
cool.
Um, well, that's fine. That means that we can just, I mean, if you're down to still meet, focus on, I mean, I think we should focus on Vicky's monologue.
Okay. I do have a question about the ending though, because you said that it was gonna be changed.
That's
Um,
something we can talk about. Yeah.
okay. Well, we can talk about that when you want to talk about that. But um I was just curious of um like how much I should memorize it, or if it's going to be like completely changed. That's all. Like I don't want to do a lot of like work on it if it's just going to be like, that's all.
Oh, yeah. I mean, everything like I'm imagining like everything up to the teeth falling out sequence is gonna be the same. Um,
Okay.
I was originally thinking I was gonna keep the Juliet wrapping her arms around Vicky in the bathroom bit, but now I'm thinking maybe I'll hold off on a Juliet hallucination. Um, because I think that the Juliet hallucination is gonna. Oh wait, Brandi is joining. That's strange.
When she's doing an exam.
Hi, Brandi.
Hey guys.
You have an exam right now?
Yeah, I'm at yeah. But it's like kind of for like a really chill class. So right now we're about to eat soup, and then the exam is like a in-person kind of interview about what we've learned and shit. So I can kind of like be here, be present until we get started and stuff as much as I can be. The only thing is I just don't have my script. So I don't know what kind of rehearsal that would be without a script.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, for now, like while we have you here, we can talk basic like generalities, I guess. So we were just talking about the changes to the ending I was thinking about making.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
yeah, which I'm still like it's still like not entirely specific in my mind. I know what it feels like in my mind. So what I'm imagining right now, we have so everything's the same up until and then the teeth fall out in the bathroom. And then right now in the script, Juliet appears behind Vicky and wraps her arms around her and tells her everything's going to be okay. I'm thinking maybe doesn't appear yet. Maybe, maybe Katie's alone in the bathroom. Teeth fall out. She hears Sarah coming up the stairs. She like walks out into the living room, and that's when Juliet appears. And then we have, in my mind, a scene that feels similar to. Do you guys remember that there's that scene towards the end of Her, where Samantha is talking to Theodore. Have you guys both seen the movie Her?
Yeah. Years ago when it came out, so my memory might be a little.
Yeah, no, same. It's been a couple of years, but I've seen it.
Okay, well, there's this beautiful, beautiful scene where Samantha is trying to, it has to have a tough conversation with Theodore and tell him that she has to leave because her consciousness has evolved or whatever. And so he lies down, and as he's lying down, she's like talking to him and sort of like gearing him towards this acceptance of like the loss of her and his life. But even though it's like sad, it's, you know, it's beautiful and it's warm, and there's like a comfort between them, like it's okay that I'm leaving, you know. It's just a beautiful and simple scene, and I'm thinking about a similar approach for this final scene as well, where this time Juliet is like explicitly appearing as like a version of Vicky's consciousness, which is like a little bit of like Vicky talking to herself, and a little bit of like her idea of who Juliet was in her mind talking to her at the same time. So like, but which means that it's also for Vicky the part of herself that actually does love herself and wants to comfort herself. So like maybe the conversation will be somewhere along the lines of like, you know, she's coming up the stairs. There's nothing you can really do. You could fight back, but like she's done this a million times. Chances are to just make it way worse for you. In the end,
the idea is that while this like sentimental, like reflective scenes going on, we insinuate that the ex-girlfriend's on her way up the stairs.
Yes. So it's almost like like Vicky is like trying to come to terms with the fact that a terrible thing is about to happen to her.
And I forgot, doesn't Juliet say like she's on her way or it's too late or something like that?
Yeah.
So that people know that that's what's happening.
Yes, absolutely.
So am I still waking up? So are we instead like all my teeth fall out and then we're gonna cut to black, and then or you said that I leave the bathroom and she's there, because then that would mean that I'm not, like, when do I get out of the trip? You know what I'm asking?
Well, now I'm thinking you don't get out of the trip.
Okay. So it just stays.
So what would happen? Like, what's the end then? Because that's like the end, but like, what's the end of the end?
Well, the end is, you know, what it all like builds up with the monologue. Like, yeah, you're gonna die, you know, all these horrible things, whatever. But you know, like you know, you can struggle against it without make it worse. The best thing you can do right now is to accept that this is going to happen to you. And you know, and but also
like Juliet saying that to Vicky.
Yes, but also this comes with like the beautiful.
That's pretty hard.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
no,
intense.
not hard as in hard, and hard as in good.
Yeah, like hard as in like that's it.
Cool. I mean,
well, like, are you thinking of her saying this to a regular Vicky or a Vicky with no teeth?
That's literally what I was about to ask. I was like, are they gonna come back? Am I gummy now?
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. I was originally thinking she just has her teeth, but there is something kind of like interesting about this whole happening.
Well, that's why I'm asking what's the end to the end, because that for me would make a difference. Like, is she just saying this monologue and then it cuts to black, or is there like a button? Like, what's the end?
Well, the button is similar to like the previous buttons. Is that still right now in my mind, the button is when Sarah opens the door. But this time when Sarah opens the door.
That's a great ending.
Mm-hmm.
with the monologue. I think having that monologue where like she's just like maneuvering Vicky into acceptance of this situation is very, first of all, dark, which like I think would be darker if her teeth weren't there, but it wouldn't make sense if her teeth weren't there if the ex was like not there yet.
Yeah, that's true. And also it all comes because now it's like the character growth for Vicky. You know, it like so much of the story is about Vicky's anxieties and her fears and things like that. And so much of anxiety is like, you know, recognizing like there's the reality of what's happening, and there's your idea of what's happening, and how like those two like often don't mesh, they don't meet. And it's that incongruence that I think is the source of a lot of people's anxieties. And this is like finally like Vicky's like, okay, I'm facing reality as it is. I'm accepting the situation. And like I know myself, I know where I am right here. And even though it's a bad place technically, at least I know where it is and I'm grounded. And
hold on 1 second. Not only did I overbook myself with work, I had a rehearsal that I totally forgot about. But
Nice work.
yeah, but I'm gonna reconvene like in like a little bit. I'm not gonna stay for the whole rehearsal, but just letting you know. Sorry, I was telling my professor what was going on. But anyway, yeah. What were you just saying?
But I was also like a big thing that inspired this ending for me was actually a short story I read recently by the Marquis de Sade, in which at the end of the story two people die, and one of those women who dies, she has lived a life of like debauchery and evil, has done these horrible things, and she's like a murderer and all these and she dies on like a bed of roses, and she's completely at peace and has no regrets, whereas another woman who lived a life that was like full of like virtue and grace and only did good things, and but she dies miserable, regretting every single small bad thing she did in her life. And then the Marquis de Sade is like making the argument, well, wouldn't you prefer to die at peace and live however you want? Which Marquis de Sade's a horrible person. I don't know how much we should like really like, but there's something interesting to that idea, I think.
Yeah, no, I don't know anything about that story, to be honest, but now it makes me want to look into it. So if you could send me that name.
Yeah, I will.
So I'm still a little confused though. So we get into the tripping state, where we like fade to black, and then I wake up and have this whole thing, and then I leave the bathroom. I'm still hallucinating, right? So like my teeth I think if my teeth come back after they fall out, that symbolizes like me waking up out of the dream, even if it's like me going through an entryway. I think we have to discern whether or not we want me and Juliet to have a moment together, in or outside the trip,
Yeah,
because, okay.
I'm sorry, continue.
No, I don't know where I'm going. I think part of me or part of Vicky, I don't know if she would like completely, like not in a hallucinatory state, would not fight. Like maybe if she's tripping, she wouldn't. It's like there's so much. She's probably never tripped before. But I feel like if she's in real danger in real life, like I think she would put up a fight. So I don't know. I'm just interested to know if she's like tripping or not.
Yeah, I mean, I do think she's tripping, and I do agree. Like, yeah, she probably would, put up a fight, literally. But then in my mind, I'm like struggling to find a way where that doesn't result in the ending we have now, which is a cliffhanger thriller ending to this psychologically complicated film.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And so in my mind, I'm more comfortable with approaching like a poetic exploration of this character's interiority at the end, rather than a narratively, literally satisfying conclusion.
For sure. So I guess then it's just like when my voice becomes the operator and my teeth falling out, where it's like hallucinatory and like just a bad trip, but then I can like come out of it but still be tripping, but that's just a part that my mind like made up because drugs are crazy, right? That makes sense to me. And then we can justify having my teeth again. I guess when I meant like out of the trip, I just meant out of that, like my mind is controlling like these things that aren't real, which is kind of going back to what you're talking about, what's real and what's in your mind.
Yeah, and I think I want that to be part of like the monologue with Juliet as well. Is like Juliet in this monologue at some point, even like in a subtle way, acknowledges, yes, I am a hallucination. Yes, I am a part of you, and you know that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so like even though this is hallucination, like you it's a hallucination, just like earlier when you fell into the fantasy of this person and decided to take on the role of this like romantic situation, for the sake of this false connection. You went into that fiction knowingly as well. And so this is just another version of that.
Yeah. So then I should have my teeth out, but she's coming. I guess I'm just confused on like.
Well, she would have her
the
teeth
part
back.
that confuses me too, because it wouldn't make sense for her teeth to actually be out. But it would, yeah, I think it would make you guys reimagine almost like what that scene in the bathroom with the no teeth is,
Well, I mean, in my mind, it works just fine with her coming back with the teeth. I mean, especially if we, because there's every time you take you take acid, there's like layers and folds to the trip, and it's like every like 5 minutes you can be entering to a different landscape, and that's what we should be exploring with this ending. I think not just in terms of the scene, but also in terms of the visuals.
No,
so, like,
I got you. I totally for like 5 seconds just forgot about that they're tripping, because that totally makes sense.
That just reminded me, can I interrupt for a hot second and ask a question? You know how these are recorded? Can we not release publicly when I said my trip experience on LSD? I would love to not have that.
Absolutely. Yeah, before we publish.
Oh my God, this is going to be a terrible recording because I was so unprepared. We just shouldn't release this one at all.
Okay, yeah, totally. Yeah, all the recordings, before I publish any of them, I'm gonna send them to everyone and get everyone's approval and see what bits we want to cut out before we publish them.
Word, thank you. Yeah, because there's a moment I just remembered going off of this that I like fully talk about my LSD trip, and I'm like, if my grandparents like see this, like I don't know if I want them to know that.
Yeah, no, totally fair. Yeah.
Okay, anyways. So then maybe it's okay, and then we're leading in the poetic world where like both can exist. Your mind, the idea of your reality can exist at the same time as actual reality. So then my teeth are gone as she's coming up, because like she's still coming up regardless of whether I'm hallucinating or not, right? And so maybe the teeth then is just like foreshadowing what will actually happen to me, because I know that. Maybe I'm just trying to justify it, but like I don't know.
Yeah, and maybe at some point
kind of makes sense.
Yeah, like maybe at some point in the monologue. I'm sorry, that's kind of laggy, so it's hard to tell when people are finished talking sometimes. But like, yeah, like maybe it's like some point in the monologue, like Juliet's like, by the way, your teeth are you still have your teeth, at least for now. And then like her teeth are like back all of a sudden or something. Like the Julia hallucination, even though it's a hallucination, is like reminding Vicky of what's real and like what reality is. Because that's the other thing, is like when you're on acid, there's always at least some part of you that is, at least for me, is able to like remember like what reality is, that it's there somewhere, and I have a vague understanding of what that is.
Wait, I'm so sorry to interrupt. This is where I have to go.
Okay. No worries.
Good luck on your final.
So sorry. I'm so sorry. Maybe we can reschedule at some point this weekend or something.
Yeah, totally. Well, we have the old crew meeting on Sunday. Maybe we could meet sometime after that.
Perfect.
Sunday night again.
Perfect. What time is it Sunday again?
It's Sunday at noon. We can have our rehearsal maybe like Sunday at like 6 p.m.
Okay. I can't.
That sounds good.
At 12, but yeah.
What's that?
I have work at 12 on Sunday.
Okay.
So I don't know if I'll be able to be in the group one.
Okay. We'll figure it out.
Okay.
All right.
Schedule. I gotta go. Sayonara.
Bye, Brandi.
I did send you my schedule. Usually I'm free Sundays, but my manager just put me in today.
Oh damn.
I know, which kind of sucks. Usually I have like the later shift, or I'm not scheduled at all, but I don't know what this week was.
Okay.
I can see like if I can sneak out or like put it on, but like I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do the 12 o'clock one this Sunday.
No, don't worry about it. We'll figure something out. And we'll record it obviously, so you can take a look at what we discussed.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
But what were you talking about? Both ideas of reality and reality existing at the same time?
Yeah, and like the Julia hallucination sort of being like your conscience, like your Gemini cricket, like telling you, like reminding you, like, hey, I'm a hallucination, and that you're controlling this. You have control over your sense of reality. Reality is this thing. Reality is you still have your teeth. Reality is someone is coming to remove your teeth. Reality is that you're probably going to die. There's very little you can do about that in your current state, but that's okay because at least you know what it is. I mean, at least you know yourself, and also because you know yourself and because you come to this place of grounding, you know that you never needed anyone else in the first place. You never needed Juliet. You never needed love. It was always within you. You're gonna die, but at least you know that.
Yeah, which has a good sentiment to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's all within yourself. Yeah.
It's a bittersweet ending.
Very bittersweet. Yeah, we talked about how she realized it way too late, just the second before she's gonna die, for sure. So what's your impulse? For me to have teeth, me not to have teeth, for her to say a line and then pop back up, disappear?
I mean,
it's not there.
My impulse is that she has teeth. I mean, because like my impulse is that like the bathroom is like this whole world. It's like one dream you're entering into. And so like you're snapping out of that dream and entering into a different one when you hear Sarah coming up the stairs. So you're still in a dream, but it's just like a different layer of the dream, a different layer of the trip.
Sure.
And in this layer of the trip, you're able to realize, oh, okay, so the teeth falling out thing didn't actually happen. Does that make sense?
I see. Yeah. Okay. Because I guess when I first read this, I thought she like went to bed. Like I thought she fell asleep and this was a dream that she was having. And then she wakes up. It says that she was in a ball and then she's rocking back and forth and then her teeth are there and then she starts going. Like in my mind, when I read that, I read that like in reality, she didn't actually go to the bathroom and have that. I read that in reality, she like fell asleep and dreamed it because we came back to her like on the floor.
Yeah.
And then we see her teeth and I'm like, oh, okay, so that was a dream. And then so this is now real life. But I think the route that we're going now, which is kind of cool and like more representative of the trips that I've had, is that everything happens in reality or in real time, I guess. Like these are all moments that have happened, but her mind is playing tricks on her and the audience then like sees both. But then as we go into different layers, we know, I don't know if I'm describing this right, but we know what is and what isn't. But it's like she actually is going to the like I'm actually going to the bathroom to do this thing, but then my mind does all this. And then I move on. And then does that make sense?
No,
versus
totally.
Like me dreaming that I did all these things.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. And that's interesting that you thought it was a dream too, because I did sort of put that in there with like the thought that that some people might interpret it that way. Because if I were in that situation, like if I were in Vicky's shoes experiencing that right then, and I was like tripping on a massive dose of LSD, time would be skipping and I wouldn't be able to tell what was really happening or not. And so like the bathroom thing might have been a dream. It might have happened. I wouldn't really know. You know what I mean? And so that's like one thing that like coming out of the curled up into a ball thing accomplishes, is that like weird, like, was it a dream? Was it not? Either way, it was a hallucination. So does it really matter?
Yeah, it's good to clarify this because I think, what was it? Oh yeah, yeah, because it all is. I don't know where I like started to. She falls back down. slowly. I don't know, but I guess the part that made me think it was all a dream was that we cut to her like lying down, and lying down to me like kind of means sleeping,
Oh,
but
totally, yeah.
yeah, you're right. Like it's all hallucinatory. So
And also, like on acid, you can't sleep. You know, like on if you tried to sleep on acid, for me, it's impossible.
I haven't tripped in years, but no, actually, you're so right. There was another time that provided there was a kitty, but I do remember, like, no, absolutely. I was up until like 6 a.m. I forgot about that. You're so right.
And so when you lay down, like if you do acid and you're tired, then that's like the worst thing in the world. Like I've done acid when I had a cold, and that was terrible because I couldn't rest. Yeah. It was a bad idea. It was just because I had like been like planning like Tuesdays a day I'm gonna do a solo acid trip, and then I woke up Tuesday with a cold, and I was like, well, this is the one day I had penciled in to do it. I'm just gonna do it anyway. A bad idea.
I appreciate your relentlessness to follow your schedule, though.
Yeah, I was determined. I mean, because you have to like, pencil it in, you know, if you're gonna dedicate to something like that. You know, like I personally need at least like the next day to recover. So I need like
Absolutely.
a 2-day period, you know.
Absolutely.
And that's hard to find, you know, that's hard to plan for. And so when you've been thinking about it and the opportunity comes, you just gotta snatch it, you know. Anyway. I don't know. So yeah, nothing about the ending is concrete yet, but I'm really glad we had this conversation. Because like, yeah, it's given me a better idea of like where to go and how to approach it and stuff. And you know, well, what intrigues you about the ending as well?
Yeah, I mean, I love now playing with the idea of like reality having different layers, and like playing with what you imagine life is, and what it actually is, right? Because we all have judgments, we all have perceptions, because that also plays into Vicky like thinking how she's perceived in a way too, versus her family, and with as opposed to herself too. And our mind plays crazy tricks on us. So yeah, I'm really interested in those layers.
Totally. Yeah, these are all like ideas that I've been like playing around with before, and like I don't know, there was like a project I was working on, my thesis project actually. They got canceled because of COVID. I'm not sure if I ever told you about it, the Swan Songs.
I don't know if you did. I remember you told me that it was canceled, but I don't know if you went into detail about like what it was.
Well, it was kind of an interesting project. It was about a young woman. His name was Sarah, actually, who's mentally ill. And she and her drug dealer travel through various rooms in her mind, meeting characters that are representations of like problematic parts of her psyche she needs to come to terms with.
Okay.
And
That's
like
right.
yeah, it was gonna be so much fun. It was a musical too, so every character is gonna have a song, and every song was gonna be performed by a different musician. Anyway, so the drug dealer was gonna be like this very like hypercritical and sort of really like antagonistic and mean presence throughout the movie, like not an ideal travel companion at all. But then like started to like warm up to her and understand her more as the movie went along. But then at the end of the film, it was revealed he was never actually there with her, and that he was just a representation of how she feels she is perceived by other people.
Yeah, that's tight.
So this is just another, a way to bring that back in, yeah. It's all tied together.
Like the end of Fight Club too.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, tight. That's cool.
Cool, sick. All right, do you want to look over at Vicky's monologue a little bit?
Sure.
So I guess to bring us up to speed, let's talk about Vicky's journey up to this point in the film, where she's at, because I feel like this monologue reveals like another layer of Vicky that's always been there but hasn't been that present on the surface in her communication with Julia up until this point. And and so there's like the character that Vicky's playing to to fulfill the role that she's satisfying for Juliet and the situation, so that the situation can continue and she can experience that artificial love and warmth and connection, which has some realness to it as well. And then there's but then there's this like deeper, more truthful part of her, that is fully cognizant of and can't shake the unreality of the situation, right? The inherent sadness and disconnect between these two. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
I think so. I think there's also a part of this. I know we were talking about how there's immense sadness at myself, but I think there's also part of me that like genuinely is heartbroken. Like, yes, it is artificial warmth, but like you said, there is some truth to it. And I really do like Juliet. And also, quite frankly, like reading all of your descriptions about the film itself. And I mean, I mentioned this the first time we met, how I really think the love is important to show, because there's a deep desire for that. And I'm like, part of me is possibly saying this too because I'm heartbroken. Like, I'm mad at myself for falling into this, but also like I think a part of me really wanted it to work in a weird way, because she is like a fascinating human being, and like we are getting along, and like she did drug me and that's awful, and like I am taking a stand here, as we've talked about. Like, it is a power move, and it's like a huge 180 in Vicky's life. But I don't know, that just kind of came to me right now. Like maybe there's an element of loss here, that like her and I can't be together at all.
Totally. And this is like that conversation we were having a while ago about how like once the betrayal is revealed in the relationship, like the true honesty that results in that, like and that's been like built up in these previous pages, like the way that like Vicky is like, I feel like I'm being spoken to, like this non-physical entity is communicating through the light. Like, that's already way more expressive than Vicky's been the entire movie, like she's willing to, like she's finally able to like open up, in her way, almost because like the anxiety of like trying to like please this person is gone, or like the fear is gone, like because like even that, like because like now that like the actual like danger is like here and present, the fear is gone. Yeah, fuck it. Nothing left to lose.
Pretty much. Yeah, the point of failure is also a moment for freedom, I think, right? Because the relationship failed in a way. It's like betrayal creates openness, and I think failure does as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is a little bit of both. The betrayal is a failure to really connect, but then it also reveals that the failure of their ability to connect was probably inherent all along from the beginning of the situation, which imbues it with this real sadness. But it also means, well, now we have the opportunity to like actually connect, on some deeper level, maybe, and I don't know if Vicky's fully willing to attempt that yet. Well, because she has this monologue, but she says it in her head. She's fully honest, but she's not fully honest to Juliet. Like, I don't know.
Well, we've talked that was a power move.
Yeah, it's a power move.
Right?
It's a power move.
Okay, she's consciously deciding to do that.
Whereas, like, by the end of the script, if Vicky were to make it out of the situation alive, I feel like Vicky would by the end of the film be the kind of person who would actually say this thing out loud now. You know what I mean?
I agree.
So this is also like revealing kind of like a character flaw in Vicky, like it's her strength, but it's also her like she's still like not fully willing to grapple with reality on reality's terms. You know what I mean?
She's still living in her head.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah. She's still embracing fantasy above all, which is not a terrible thing to do. You know, it's not the worst thing in the world.
But it's a protective thing to do.
For sure.
Because reality is hard, and I think a lot of people fantasize better situations when it's too difficult to be fully present and be fully seen and be fully open.
Absolutely. Cool. So once again, we have a time limit on this Zoom call. I don't know. What do you think? Dude, I can just exit out of the Zoom call and restart, but I do have to leave in like 20 minutes anyway.
That's okay.
So I can attend to match thing.
Yeah, it's up to you.
Okay. Let me try exiting out, and I'll send you another Zoom link so that we can continue for the next 20 minutes. Cool. All right. See you in a sec.